I'm here to spend a little time with you today talking about AdBuilder and kind of why you might want to advertise on social media. And then I'm going to go through a demo. And that's where I want to spend actually most of the time is in the product itself, showing you some of its features, and then, of course, answering any questions that you guys might have. So please feel free at any moment to put anything you want into the chat. We also are recording today's webinar, so don't feel like you have to take notes on everything or everything about the demo. You can always go back and watch the demo part later. And Alicia can help me with questions in the chat. We'll probably save most of those until I'm fully through the initial demo, but I'm happy to go back at that point and show you any particular parts of the product. And then please stay on until the very end, because we do have a special discount code for you just for attending this webinar. So, fall sellers, we're in the fall season. I think it's feeling that way, at least for me here in Seattle. But expectations of sellers are quite high. There's a lot of really interesting things happening in the market, as I'm sure you are all aware, that is putting different types of pressure on those who are trying to sell their homes. So what sellers want is obviously great representation by yourself, but also a really comprehensive and social, digital focused marketing plan. So how can you have the clear and really good communication as you're working with your sellers about how the listing is performing and how you're bringing in potential buyers. The other thing that is top of mind, obviously, is everybody wants a short window to closing. And even though I know that in your area, especially days on market is lower than, say, the average across the nation, it is rising as research is showing in parts of California, and especially Northern California. So just keeping all of that in mind, that's where AdBuilder comes in. And if those of you who are familiar with perhaps using some of these tools directly through Facebook's Business Manager or Google or other search engines for paid advertising, what we're really trying to do is help make it really easy for you to place these ads across multiple platforms at the same time and have it ensure that it's going to meet compliance needs. It's going to meet all of the policy expectations. It's going to pass the platform's algorithms that check for various things that could reject your ad, all of that in a nice, clean video ad for your listing. So I'm going to, again, I'll show you what some of that all looks like when I get to the demo, but I want to tell you how, in particular, we can do this with meeting these seller expectations. So first, I want to talk about how you can win new listings by standing out from the competition. So one of the things that we've seen in the market today with new potential sellers as well as new potential buyers is they're going to social media, to online, to digital, to find people to represent them. So when hiring an agent, in this case, what we've seen from some of the research is that they really want to find somebody who will properly market their home to buyers in the more modern day and age of social media and paid advertising. As well, we've seen that people often go to the internet to search for and find a real estate agent. And that's new just in the last few years, where that is starting to exceed, more traditional referrals and kind of word of mouth and things like that. So one thing is to put yourself out there, to brand yourself through actually putting your listing as a paid advertisement, not because you're specifically trying to identify the buyer who will buy that property, but finding your next listing, finding your next seller. And one thing that we did just recently roll out in MLS listings, and this is something you may or may not have seen yet, more communications are going to be coming, but you can now also advertise sold listings. And this is pretty common practice for most real estate agents. You'll oftentimes, see those flyers that people send to people's homes. So here are the homes that, myself or our brokerage has sold in the last year or last several months. And now you can do that as a paid advertisement too, to show that social proof of your business and the success of your business. And we also both do Facebook, Instagram display ads, and there's an example of what one looks static. I'll show you an example of a video ad in a second. But we also do search ads through Google and through Bing. And it's a particular type of ad that you'll need to select, and I'll talk through that in the demo. But this is a way that you can show your seller when you're giving them a listing proposal, for example, that this is how you will advertise the property, and it's direct from the MLS, direct with all your data. And then, of course, we have data to back up what we've been doing. So we've been working with several MLSs across the country. And as we, pull that data together and look at it over the last couple of years, we've been live in MLS listings for about a year, so just over a year. So we're down to the place where we can have enough statistically relevant data to start looking at your market in particular. But as we look across many markets, we're seeing that advertising, among other things you do with marketing, is shown to help reduce days on market by up to 46%, so that you're getting more eyes out there and on your property. So we also want to help sellers, make their home famous. This is about getting their home up on social media, getting it out there so everybody can see it with smart, targeted listing ads. So the first part that makes it smart is you have two different types of ads that you can select from, and I'll walk you through these in the product itself. Ad target, which usually you want to run those from anywhere to 3 to 7 days. They're kind of like micro campaigns, micro ads. You can run them for a particular status that your listing is in: just listed, under contract, coming soon, price reduced, open house, etc. Or you can run a full listing lifecycle ad, which we call ad intelligence. And what that does is, as it moves through those various statuses over the life of the campaign that you set up and the time frame that you set up, it will change the ad content and copy to match the status that it's in. And that's really helpful because it's kind of more of a set it and forget it type of campaign. Nice thing to run for sort of all your listings from the beginning. And then you can use ad target ads to kind of target specific things if you want to highlight something with a little bit more oomph. Pretty quick to launch an ad. And again, I'll walk you through this in the demo. There's only a few steps to really set your budget, set your duration, set where you want the ad to be seen. And then you kind of make sure your branding looks all great, hit pay, and your ad is launched. As the performance of the ad goes on, where there's a couple different ways that you can look at the performance of that, you'll get emails kind of triggered to you as various activity happens on the ad. But you also get online, as a part of AdBuilder in the tool itself, a dashboard for you, and also a seller report, which is what is being shown here on the right. I'll show you an example of a real live one that's currently running. But it's a great way. You can literally share the link. It's dynamic, it's active. As the ad continues to perform, your seller can kind of see what kind of interest it's getting in the typical sort of Facebook and social media sort of views, clicks, links, or leads type of marketing terminology. So I'm going to jump into what it looks like. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to access it via the MLS Touch app, which is a new way that you can find AdBuilder. It's been live in AdEdit, like I said, for MLS listings for some time. So definitely, you should be familiar with where to find that within listing management itself. If not, please definitely follow up with us at AdBuilder or MLS Listings. But it's right in when you're editing a listing. You have the opportunity to do that. We're finding out other ways with the team there to kind of give you other times as you're creating and saving and editing your listing through different alerts to remind you to do this type of advertising as well. But in MLS Touch, which is obviously an app on your mobile device, when you're in the home screen here, you'll see the My Listings tile. And when you click on that, it's going to bring up all your listings that you have. Sometimes it shows in the map view, make sure you're in the list view. And then you should see this promote button. And I think right now in the final version of the product, it's actually over the hero image here of the home. But it should be pretty obvious. And when you click on that, it's going to automatically open you up in AdBuilder. One thing is if you have not updated your MLS Touch app in a while, you will need to download the latest version from the App Store. And I would just say the easiest way to do that is to delete the version that's on your phone, go to the App Store, download, re-log in, which should only be a one-time event, to make sure that you have the latest version that includes AdBuilder. All right, so I'm going to go into the demo here. I'm going to pull over from my other screen. And I am going to kind of show this to you in a mobile view, meaning a narrow view versus you can, when you launch this from listing management, say on your laptop or desktop computer, you would see a normal wider screen, but I'm just going to show you what it will look like when you're on your mobile device. So as if I were to have clicked on that property in MLS Touch that I wanted, it's going to come and jump right in here to a preview of my ad process for this specific listing. And to ever see what the listing might look like as an ad, you just hit preview and it's going to show you what that will look like. And you can tell. It won't show you the video in the preview, but you can tell that this will end up being a movement. It's going to be the first 8 photos in the MLS of your property. So it's important that you make sure that those first 8 are the ones that you want to show. As I mentioned, you've got Ad Intelligence or Ad Target. Ad Intelligence is the full listing life cycle. This is recommended if you're coming in at early, like just listed or coming soon, status of your property. And it runs for a minimum of 14 days and a maximum of 28 days. And it will include the search engine advertisements on Google and Bing, as well as the display advertisements. The ones that change are going to be the display ads. Those would change with different types of banners. So for example, if you had an open house coming up, it's going to change some of the copy behind the ad, as well as show this banner with times and dates of the open house if those are available in the MLS. So I'm going to go ahead and start by selecting one of the ad target ads. Let's say I have just reduced the price on my property and I want to advertise that specifically. I may be running an ad intelligence ad at the same time and it will catch that, but maybe I want to just put some more money into advertising that piece. So if I select the price reduced, it's going to bring me to the second of my 5 steps, which is our goal screen. And I've got a couple decisions to make here. Based on the type of property and the listing price of my property, it's going to recommend a budget that's optimal and a duration that's optimal for my price reduced campaign. Now, I don't know if anybody noticed what the listing price was on my fake listing that I have here, but I think it was pretty high, like somewhere well over $1 million. So it's suggesting a pretty high budget, but you can always slide these things around or you can spend more. We've had people spend well up to $1,000 on certain campaigns. And obviously, as you do that, you'll see the estimated performance here change. and you kind of see what the range of views, clicks, and leads is going to be. You can always reselect optimal, and it'll bring it back to what that default setting was when you came in. Then we have some other things here. We have a value, which is really just going to spread that money over a longer period of time, or a boost, which adds a percent to the period of time that you're running. And so again, you can still always adjust the duration at the bottom here, and it'll continue to sort of let you know what the estimated performance will be over that time. The other thing you can do is run campaigns for a particular type of goal, like I want to get more views, I want to get more people looking at it. That's really great for like an open house. You want to get a lot of foot traffic in, or I want to get demand generating clicks, website visits to your landing page, or actual leads, which is more higher intent audience, which means it's only going to serve it up to people in the algorithm that are likely really narrowing in on real estate and are very potentially more higher intent buyers or sellers. And then, of course, you have your target audience of where this ad will show up for people. And as I hope most of you are probably aware, due to fair housing rules, the only targeting that you can do is demographically by geography. So it makes it pretty simple. You just decide what your radius is going to be. And you can also move the radius around to different cities or locations. You can zoom out and pick like a whole nother city in a different part of the country if you want. And if you want to do this same property, but for different geographic areas, you would just run multiple ads picking a different geography. Here's what I talked about with your brand. This is really important. You want to make sure that this information is correct before you pay for your ad, that it has all of your individual profile information as well as your brokerage information and logo. Easy to edit this stuff, but I would definitely say maybe a little easier to do so on your desktop device than perhaps on your mobile, unless all of these images are easily available on your mobile device. So then it's just going to give you my final review page here. It's telling me when it's going to start, how long it's going to go for, what my budget was. You, of course, can hit edit on any of these and go back to the goal page and make any changes that you would like. It's going to tell you what the ad text is going to look like. You have a chance to edit that here. I would say be careful about how much editing you do. We've done a ton of research into what it's going to get the algorithms working the best on these platforms, what the keywords are, what words you shouldn't use that would get your ad potentially rejected, et cetera, et cetera. So if you do change that, I'll just give you a warning that it could change the performance of the way that the ad runs. You also get a listing website, which is basically a landing page that the platforms like Facebook will use to direct traffic to. And so when you approve that, you'll get the pay page. This is pretty standard. The payment screen, if you don't have a credit card in, you would need to enter one. If you have a discount code, which you'll get at the end of this, don't forget to put that in and hit apply, and then you pay and your ad will process. You will get an email notification of payment as well as links to then come back and check the performance of your ad later. So it'll look like this. Then if you want to go and view the campaign, of course, this is in a test environment, so this isn't actually running a live campaign, so there won't be any details here. I will show you what a live campaign looks like. And then when I'm done with that, I will pause for questions. All right, so this side over here. Okay, so in your community, Karen is running this Facebook ad made by AdBuilder for a property that just actually went under contract. Very exciting for her. She ran an ad intelligence ad. It's been running for a couple weeks now, and it started as a just listed and then went under contract. And so the information about the ad changed. The copy up here to say under contract. Isn't that great? And her ad, seller report looks like this. So it's still running because it still has a few days left on the campaign itself. But you can see here what the performance has been, what the remaining predicted performance will be, the graph of views over time, and more details here. And this is, again, she can just share this link directly from her phone, text it to her seller or email, and they can look at that, and it's dynamic. The other thing I was going to show you is this is what her managed campaign screen looks like. So you can see the breakdown by platforms, and you can see all of the contact forms that are filled out. These contact forms are filled out either through Facebook in using its lead form functionality, or through the lead site, our lead site that we create for you that has a lead form on it as well. You can see there's a couple different pages of leads. And then these are called social interactions. So if somebody actually likes or comments on your ad, you can actually go right to Facebook and engage with that comment. So you could write something back about the comment, or you could, thank people for their interest. And that's kind of a nice way to engage on the Facebook ad itself. I will stop there and see what questions we have.
Awesome, Margot. Thank you so much. AdBuilder always takes our marketing dollars and really makes it a more concentrated effort with the different goals. Love that. I know you had mentioned that in the video, it took the first 8 photos. So the agents are asking if those are 8 photos, they can select different ones, or is it always the first 8?
Right now, the way the product works is that we'll grab the first 8 that you have. And so it's important that you do check the order and make sure it's the order that you'd like. So the product right now, to keep it simple and straightforward, we're not putting a lot of that kind of changing things and moving things around and doing things. We're trying to make it really simple for agents to advertise. So that's the only thing that it's good for you to know ahead of time, and make sure that that's set the way you want it. And, usually people don't want a picture of the bathroom first or something like that. So make sure the one that you want is the ones that are in there. And it's okay if it's less than 8 photos too. If you don't have that many photos for the property yet, but you really want to advertise it, it only takes 1. Of course, a couple more makes the video a little more dynamic.
Make sure to check out our pro support page for additional videos on a full range of topics. And don't forget to click that subscribe button on our MLS Listings YouTube page.